Hi Brian, well as you can see the body is off. Didn't go ever so smoothly. We've got some big problems around the left rear, left number 3 body mount, as you know, and so there's just no strength in that body mount channel, which is where we'd normally lift. So we had to use, we made up some brackets a while back to lift off the door shut pin, you know. So that's what we used on yours as an additional support for the rear end, so we didn't damage the rocker channels. Yeah, so I mean, that was the only difficulty. The actual lifting itself was straightforward, just like it always is. So it's all off now. I've had a look, just a sort of initial look around, and the right-hand body mount runner looks in not bad condition. There's a little bit of surface corrosion. Maybe that will get worse once you start cleaning and poking around in there, but I think we might get away with either no repairs or very light repairs on that one, although that phrase will probably come back and bite me, I guess. The left rear is where all the problems are, and that is very, very bad. So if I get a light on in there, you can see now that everything is out the way. That entire rear section has just rotted away to nothing, and this is a reinforcement that goes up the inside that's all buggered and all the shale, and this piece here should extend all the way up as a double skin, and the same on the inside. You can see all in here it's very, very bad. So yeah, a real mess in there, and it is an awful job to do. There's a repair channel that you can get which goes up on the underneath, and we have used those in the past. They don't get rid of what's there. You cut out what is there, you know, and then put these bits in over the top. We'd prefer to let a new piece in, but I don't know if I've got a section that would do that now. You know, that kind of stuff is getting pretty thin on the ground, but we'll investigate that a bit further and see what we'll get this up on a ramp, you know, and have a look from underneath proper where we can get better access and what have you, and then go from there. There's all the bits that fell out. There's the remain. That would be the bit that bolts down on the chassis, and that sort of goes on top of it, you know. Seatbelt support is not attached, and you know we've got number 4 body mount runners missing. I don't know if this will show under there very well. So that's the sort of rear end of that body mount runner. I think the front of this one is okay. Oh, actually, yeah, I have spoken too soon, haven't I? Because I remember looking at the front of that other side body mount runner, and it was rotten there under where that foam bit is. So yeah, talk about dropping oneself in it. Where is that now? Yeah, there you go. So that's just that's between numbers 1 and 2 body mounts, and there's a bit of rot in there, so that will need dealing with. So there you are, and that goes under this foam shield goes on top of the chassis, between the chassis and the bodies, to stop all muck and whatnot going backwards into the body mounts. But it actually makes matters worse because it holds moisture and muck and what have you. You can probably see a bit better some of the fairly cruddy repairs that have been done on here now. It's all basically anything that doesn't look lovely and neat is not original, and all round this side. I guess that inner fender has come on bonded there, and rather than bond it back on, they've laminated it back on. So there you are. We've got there's some unbonding. You can see the outer fender moving from the inner fender there, so that will want a bit of looking at as well. In fact, you can just see, I just saw a bit of light. There's a line down there, I guess, where something has happened. That might be where it was laminated, because it does get very, very hot when it cures. So it might just be a heat thing. Engine bay, that's just the usual old, you know, a little bit tired engine bay into it, which will brighten up. You've got a new washer pump already, so we'll fit that. And your brake booster and master cylinder and what have you. there's some sort of extra non-return valve in the headlight vacuum. We'll get rid of that, and I guess maybe that check valve up there is not working, so we'll look at that as well. But they're all things that will, you know, get done as piece and part of the process that we're about to embark upon. And your chassis is out here. Another typically balmy day in Felmingham. So this has got quite a few little problems. We'll start at the front where we've got, in fact you can see here, look, it's all, well, whether you can or not I don't know, but it's all kinked and buckled and whatnot here. It's dented in here, out here, it's all over the shop, so that's pretty bent there. It's also quite rotten. There's a load of thickness, in fact you can see some cracking in there, and it's all bowing out where you get the shale in between, and the same on this side. You can see the angle that's at, should be upright, and that's bent out, and you can see it's rotten through here. Incidentally, there were no bolts in these two holding the these two I meant holding the front cross member on, so that was just kind of, that was held in place by the outer bumper brackets. So again, I guess they couldn't get anything to line up, so it was just kind of left. So that will get dealt with. We're going to order all the bits we need to rebuild the front hubs completely, new backing plates and bearing kits and what have you. Plug lead routing is all over the show, but I know you've got new plug leads. We're also going to, I thought maybe replace the trans cooler lines, but actually I thought that was silver paint on them, but I think they might be quite recent, so that will all become a bit more clear once everything is steam cleaned. That's where that seal sits over the chassis rail. This has been off before because there's all black, that looks like that Pour 15 paint. Don't like that stuff. It's just like a syrupy gelatinous gloop that you pour over, and I think the theory is that if you can't see the rust, it isn't rusty anymore, but it's not very good, and that's that stuff. So the body would have to have been lifted for all of this to be fresh black. You know, there's no way that could have gotten painted with all that stuff in situ. So it's clearly been off before, but I'm wondering whether it's one of these jobs that, you know, where they lift the body like 6 inches or something and kind of work in there. You can see it's been welded here before, and has been welded in there before, and is not very nice. We've got some rust down in this corner of the rear cross member, and that's looking very rough, and the same in here, and again with the black paint, you know, it's everywhere, so it's definitely been off to a point. This here is the driver's side rear kick up now, and this is rotten through, and if you look down in here, this plate here, as you can see my little pinky up through there, and that's rotten through as well. Same with this side rail. There's been a patch blobbed in here, and this cross member is as thin and as hollow sounding as you like. You know, it's really quite bad. So to repair this chassis, what we'd need to do is cut both rear kick-ups off. So cut these pieces off, these pieces off, cut out this diff cross member, then repair both chassis rails with some new replacement parts, put a new diff cross member in, and then weld the rear chassis rail back on. This one though has had, I don't know if it will show, but there's a line here. I thought that was a crack initially, which is unusual, but we think it's had a patch let in here, because that looks like a weld mark there and there. So, you know, it's had work done. So that, right, if we did repair this chassis, that leg would want replacing with another one. Both chassis rails have got various bits of rot in there and have had patches put in. This is not an original rear cap, and in fact this body mount bolt we had to grind the head off because it wouldn't undo, and that it's dropped down now, but that was sticking out earlier, and that is a nut and bolt that was brought up from underneath, from inside, before this end cap was put on. The other side chassis rail, I think, has got a bit... Oh no, it's this side, isn't it? I can see daylight through this gap here. So it's that side chassis rail that's got some problems. There's also problems with trailing arms. This one has had a patch let in here, so that's obviously rotten. And you can see it's all kind of bent and bowed up there, and there's some cracking down in here as well. And it's the same story on the other side, albeit not as bad, but that's had a patch let on. So we're going to build you a couple of new trailing arms up, along with a new rear spring and everything. It's a shame because the rest of the chassis all looks not bad, you know, but we're going to look into getting another chassis over from the States. I think we'll weigh up the sort of pros and cons, but I think that's going to be more cost effective by the time all the bits are bought for this. I mean, just that chassis kick up is like 500 or 600 quid. The diff cross member is, I don't know, 300-400, I think. I can't remember. So there's 1,000 quid just in bits before you've even lifted a finger at it, and then it's a huge amount of work to do that job. It really is monstrous. And if it was just that, you'd probably do it, but the fact that it's bent as well, I think it's probably a bit of a non-starter, but we'll see. So anyway, it's literally just come off, so well, now we're going to get and steam clean this, and then once that's done, we'll lift the engine and transmission out, and then over the course of the next couple of days, I'm going to start dismantling this, so that we can get the sandblasters here next week. I don't think at this stage there's a lot of point in getting the chassis sandblasted. I think it's just going to be an expenditure that we could do without, so we'll see. I'll contact my guys in the States and see what they've got in terms of frames, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I'll give you a call now anyway, and see if you want to come and have a look-see, and we'll go from there. Take care, bye bye.